Hello YouTube. This is Balaam Age again, and we just got back from the PoE 2 console LA event, and you've all already seen a few videos, but a lot of my video is going to include stuff that was under an embargo, so it couldn't come out until right now. So we're going to address some of the general things in the beginning, and then some specific witch stuff and minions on the second half, because those were beautiful. So we're very happy about that, but we'll get to it. So as we can see in the background here, and as you will have seen in many other videos, we've got quite a bit of couch co-op gameplay going on in the background here, which is something very new to me. I do play with a controller on most games except PoE right now. Very experienced with controller play. I play all the other ARPGs with controllers. PoE is the only one I play exclusively with the mouse and keyboard currently. And I have to say a few things that I think are really important that I wasn't expecting. One, I was not expecting the fluidity of combat and like how everything just feels right off the bat to be as smooth and nice as it is. The ability to do everything while moving made everything feel so much better. Just all of the combat feels so much better. But the most important part to me is all of my spells, all of my auto attacks, all of my bow attacks, everything like that. I could aim with one thumbstick, move with the other thumbstick, attack at the same time, and all that happens is that you get slowed down instead of stopped. So instead of stutter stepping everywhere, trying to click, get an attack, click, get an attack, click, get an attack, and try and like move attack, move attack, move attack, move attack, which is what you do everywhere else. In this one, if you want to move quick, you're not attacking or not casting, and if you do your attack, it just slows you. It doesn't actually stop you. And that was one of my favorite things for like the feeling of combat. The other things that caught me way off guard that makes me very, very happy is all of your inventory management, all of your speccing things, applying passive points, picking skills, all of that sort of stuff is done on your player's side of the screen. So while one player is looking at their passive tree or trying to put a node in or trying to select a gem that they want, or just looking at their inventory, looking at gear, things like that, the other player can still be killing monsters, defending you, moving you around, progressing. If you stay stationary for a few seconds because you've got your inventory open, they can even drag you. So you can continue to progress through the story or the map or wherever you are while your friend is looking at things. And it just keeps going. That's something I've never seen before. Very, very much love that. We've also got the way the camera works, where it's sort of, instead of split screening us, which is the only other way I've ever played anything on like couch co-op, and instead of split screening, it's all this one screen that's sort of anchored roughly in the middle of where the two of you are. So if one player runs off far to the left, the other player, like being stationary, just sort of slowly moves to the right hand side of the screen, and the center becomes the middle between them. So you're always working within this one field where you both feel like you've got the whole screen to play on, and that felt so much better than I imagined. So much better than I would ever have thought. I'm actually really, really impressed with that. So the next thing that I really like, we did have this confirmed, is that all of these controls, all of the ability to use a controller, all of the smoothness that comes with it, not only do most of the PC players who have tried it at the office love the WASD, which is basically the same version, but we will just be able to use our controllers in this game and have everything work exactly the same. So that's great. It's also been all but confirmed that they're pretty much agreeing that they want to have the ability to just play your controller, put it down, put your hand on the mouse and keyboard and use it. Though that will not be available right away during the early beta, whenever we get that. It will be a thing that eventually happens, almost certainly. Not actually promised, but everyone seems on board. Everybody likes it, and it's something they really want to do, but they do not think it'll make it to the release date. So like day one of like the beta, we're not going to be seeing that, but hopefully at some point before actual release, that will happen. That'll be the big turning point for me, because I personally absolutely love playing the games with a controller, but I do not want to do my inventory management, passive trees, that sort of thing. So for right now, it'll be the same as PoE 1 when it first launches, where you have to like exit out, change, go back in. But pretty soon, hopefully before the actual release, hot swappable. So that's going to make me real happy as well. Another thing I want to address, one of my biggest concerns before I went to this event was just pacing of the game, how slow things are. It's what a lot of people were worried about. I am far less worried about that now. It isn't that the combat is as fast as PoE 1. It really isn't. It definitely is slower. But it didn't feel slow to play. Everything felt way more meaningful. Each individual pack felt really good to kill. I didn't feel like, oh my god, why is this taking so long? I felt like I was doing meaningful things this whole time. And that just led to everything feeling like it was really well paced. To be fair, we only had access to the first 2 acts, and we did get told it will speed up quite a bit towards the end game. But as far as Act 1 and Act 2 went, it actually felt way better than what I was worried about. So that was one of the main things that I was worried about. We also got confirmation that in the end game, when you are min-maxing a character, when you're building a lot of gear onto it, we will be able to get very, very fast blasting characters. That was actually like 100% confirmed. The idea that we could like overkill, scream through areas, probably not quite at the speed of PoE 1, but definitely not super slow. The idea of this game was to slow down the initial part and make it a thing we have to build to, right? So it's not walk into the game, 2 hours in, you're already killing the bosses as you progress through the campaign in like 10 seconds, which is what we do in PoE 1 currently, and then end up in maps just blasting through immediately, day one skill on our bar, just annihilating everything. They don't want that at all, but they do want us to be able to gear up to the point where we can do that. So it'll be like, you'll have to earn it. And that makes me happy too, because I know I'll be able to earn it. I know we'll definitely all be able to earn it. We will make sure everybody can. But the fact that it won't just be like that to begin with, I'm taking as a good thing. All right. So, moving on to what I thought was my most important things. In the playtests, we had minions. We had a witch class. We got skeletons, we got skeletal archers. There was actually also summon raging spirits, although I didn't get my hands on them personally. We also had some exploding minion that I didn't get to play with either, and as well as these little, I don't even know what they're called, third type of minion that was like a temporary minion, but we will go over those as well. So the way minions are going to work is based on your amount of spirit, which is something that, at least in the gameplay that we have, we were only able to get off gear. You would spend a certain amount of your spirit, or consume or reserve, I guess, an amount of your spirit to be able to summon minions. And you got this really cool minion AI that was like, skeletons cost this much, or skeletal warriors cost this much, skeletal archers cost this much. You've got this much total, and you can just pick the amount you want of each of them, and they just come up straight out of the ground. Absolutely, you don't need to summon them or nothing. They're just with you permanently. What felt really good is if minions die, or when minions die, if then no minion dies for 4 whole seconds, all minions that you have are dead will raise together. This felt really, really good because there were plenty of times where like I would stand in a stupid place, or the boss would like slam and kill a whole bunch of things, or once or twice when we gathered up way too many mobs and got several packs together, which we should never have done, and got them all killed. What would happen is you would just avoid getting minions killed for 4 seconds, and then romp out of the ground your entire army. Straight up, boom, all of your minions back. You didn't have to resummon them. You just had to run for just a split second, and then boom, whole minion army came up. So that was absolutely amazing. So that was our 2 permanent minions. And then we had our 3rd minion, who's I've already forgotten the name of. I'm so sorry. I will put it on the screen when we find it. That name. Those guys came from corpses, and they had a pretty decently long duration right to begin with. And I didn't even see a cap to the number I was supposed to have. If there was a cap, it was one that I couldn't reach this early in the game. And these were just like extra minions that did not take spirit. They were temporary minions, but they still followed me. They still followed me like skeletons did. So when I have them and I run from a pack to another pack, they all follow me. They all come with me. They all jump on things again. So that is also really cool. So far, minion balance at this stage is maybe a little questionable. I do feel like the skeletons died a little bit too easy, especially since I did spec into some life, but this is a pretty early release of it, so I'm not super worried about the individual balance of individual minions, and I'm more worried about how minions work overall, and not having to sit there and summon all of my minions and put corpses on the ground and bring zombies up and like all of the prep work that normally goes into summoners. All of that gone. Everything's just on the spirit. That seems absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loved it. I'm absolutely so much less worried about going into PoE 2 now. My biggest problem is that I can't play more of it right now. I want to play more of it right now. It's the only game I want to play now. I've suddenly lost all interest in every other ARPG, and I just want into this. The way this entire game ran for us the whole day, we played for, there was an 8-hour period. We probably played for 6.5-ish hours of that 8 hours. And that wasn't nearly enough. That wasn't nearly enough. So I'm very, 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 very much just chomping at the bit to get at more of this now. And so with these minions, they also did some other really cool things. 2 really cool things specifically. One of them, my individual minions had their own sort of bindable button. So I have skeletal archers, and just by the fact that I have skeletal archers, I got a like skeletal archer ability that allowed me to basically put down this little poison cloud over an area that did a bunch of damage and I think lowered their armor or something like that. Like it was a debuff as well as some damage. And it looks like, I don't know if it was every minion, but all the minions I had, all the special minions that I had, all the ones we came across, and all the ones that I saw on other screens to the side of me, all had their own little special abilities that would do cool things. So I very much liked that. I thought when I first saw it that I wouldn't like it. I was like, oh no, extra binds. I'm not going to like this at all. But then what happened was I was fully able to clear all of the normal packs and kill most monsters and kill blue packs and even kill a rare without touching the special abilities at all. I never had to use those binds. So I was personally really worried about like, oh no, there's going to be a whole bunch of extra binds and a whole bunch of extra buttons to press. I'm going to run around with 4 minions. I'm going to have 4 active minion buttons that I'm going to have to press all the time. And I was like worried that that wasn't going to feel good. But it seemed to me like the goal was these are just specialty abilities for you to use when you need to, but they are not required at all for your minions to behave really well. So they all behaved really well. They cleared packs anyway. I ended up using them on exceptionally tanky rares or bosses, and that was it. And that felt fantastic. It felt fantastic. It was like little cooldown abilities that you could use in those specific situations. So that was really cool as well. The second thing, which is something I forgot to test, and I wish I had tested it, and I wish I had some footage of me doing that, but I don't. The other thing that they could do, which was very cool, is those third minions that scurry around, those non-permanent ones, would help spread other abilities. So there was opportunities for me to do hybrid stuff. Like there was an Essence Drain Contagion in the playtests, and it worked a little bit differently from how Essence Drain Contagion works right now. Specifically, it did a little bit more damage every time it spread until it ran out of time. The specifics of how much damage it does, not important, because we're still very early. I assume that we call this alpha. I assume we call this alpha. So amount of damage, not important, but those temporary minions would, if they went up and attacked a mob that had the Essence Drain Contagion debuff on it, they would take a copy of that. They would be like, yoink, oh, I killed that mob that had Essence Drain Contagion. There was no mob for it to spread to, so I'm going to take it. And then you would have like 10 seconds, 15 seconds to reach another pack and get that mob to come over and kill a new white mob in the pack, or attack something else, and it would spread that already existing Essence Drain Contagion onto a new mob, with already having its damage buffs from having killed other things before. We're not going to get into the specifics of like exactly how much damage everything did, because early alpha, it doesn't matter. It's the mechanics that are important. So instead of having to Essence Drain Contagion this pack, and then Essence Drain Contagion that pack, and then Essence Drain Contagion that pack, you would be able to do it once. Your minion army and Essence Drain Contagion together would kill the whole pack, and then that buffed up Essence Drain Contagion would come with you through your minions to the next pack and apply it automatically. So that was really cool. Unfortunately, I did not get to test much of that at all. I wish we had way more time. I was begging for more time. I wanted to spend 48 hours straight testing absolutely everything that we had available to us, but we only got so much time. Whatever we did get was absolutely amazing. So that was all of mine. I was the one other thing that I want to point out is you'll see in the background some bells going down. That was my duo partner Catmaster playing a monk. Had an ability that could put a giant bell on the ground, and that giant bell would get hit by any projectile, any AoE, any strike that was near it, anything like that, and it would do extra damage in that area around the bell. That worked for all of my bows and all of my minions and all of my spells and all of his attacks and everything like that as well. It would also spread shocks and chills and all of those sort of things if you hit it with it, and that made for some really cool couch like co-op play as well. And that sort of thing would also work if multiple people had bells, so we could have had multiple monk parties and just been belling everywhere. And the bells were really cool too. But for me, it was all about the minions. I absolutely loved them. I really can't wait to see what happens when they get like a decent balance pass and we get to play them in hopefully an open beta in a few months. That would be fantastic. I am all but certain that that was what I will be starting. So yeah, that's all we have of this. If you're interested in seeing all of the unedited footage, we did have to remove some bits here and there, and we had some dead end, so we had some dead air. But we do have about 2.5 hours of like raw footage, which we could just post as a movie on YouTube if you just want to watch through 2.5 hours of Catmaster and I just playing couch co-op PoE2. We've already had it approved, so we can post that if you're interested. So if you are interested and you want to see that, let me know, because we will just post the entire thing. The only downside is there are no faces, there are no voices, there's no commentary on it. It is just recorded from the PlayStation, and in quite good quality, I might add, and just raw footage. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know. We'll post that as well. All right, that is all I have, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.